I firmly feel that the image of the legacy system is being sullied to the point where it's turning enough people away from the old system in preparation to provide them the new system. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I've never seen so much negative bank news come out as I have the last like 2 months. And if you watch the news, not watch, but read the news articles the last 2 days, did you see how many bank articles are coming out exposing them for doing bad things? I've never seen anything like it. This is one of the biggest ones. I'm just going to give you this one here. This article is titled JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and 7 mega banks paying $46 million over alleged conspiracy to rig $1 trillion derivatives market. Now, if you remember, I had maybe like 2 titles this year that had the word rigged in it because we were considering the possibilities based on what we're seeing. Things look set up. I think I used that verbiage too, set up and rigged. It's for a reason. And now they're exposing it. They're confirming that these people do 100% engage in these activities. Let's read this little tidbit, this little article. Let me not jump ahead too fast, too quickly. It says here, 9 of the largest banks in the world are settling a long-running lawsuit that accuses them of conspiring to rig a $465.9 trillion market, which will be coming to digital assets, by the way, fully at some point in the future. Just my humble opinion. You don't have to agree. Then the question is, once you have all of that capital, that value, not capital, value coming into the digital industry, who's going to be trusted to move it? Respected companies. Who's the respected companies at the top? You got Ripple, XRP, Quant is up there. You have Solana up there. You have a few of them. But I'm just using my logic to say, who would they trust with this type of stuff? Stellar is there as well. It says lawyers representing investors have filed for preliminary approval of a $46 million cash settlement against JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, BNP Paribas, Citigroup, Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, NatWest, and UBS to end an 8-year-old antitrust suit. Listen, I don't know if we should use this type of thinking, but I mean, why would you settle? Why not fight that to the bitter end? If it's not true, if there's nothing to uncover, why not fight that to the bitter end? They have the capital to do it. Maybe I'm not thinking about this right. You let me know. You might see something I don't. But if you're not guilty of this, you fight that to the bitter end. Let's continue on here. It says representing the Public School Teachers Pension and Retirement Fund of Chicago, the Los Angeles County Employees Retirement Association, and other institutional investors. Lawyers say the banks have been. Lawyers say this. So it's not some just regular person off the street. Lawyers who've been poring over this for 8 years. I'm not saying lawyers get everything right. I'm not saying that, but they obviously have something. It says lawyers say the banks have been conspiring for years to keep the interest rate swap market inefficient and antiquated. They're telling a lot. Apply this to everything else. It's going to make a lot of sense. So they're conspiring to keep interest rate swap market inefficient and antiquated. What else have we been saying is reasoning for them to move forward with the new financial system more so than them keeping their own systems antiquated, which could have been updated a long time ago. And we had been positing that probably was on purpose. Looks a little bit more realistic now. It says, and antiquated in order to extract as much as possible in fees. So now we have established that if this is correct, that they will do things that are injurious to others as well as themselves in order to prop themselves up for future benefits or current benefits, right? Interest rate swaps allow two parties to trade interest cash flows for a given period of time. The plaintiffs say that the interest rate swap market is clearly ready for fast, efficient trading on electronic exchanges. Look at the setup. This feeds right into what we're about to get into in the future when digital assets take over. It says, but that the defendant banks have gone out of their way to make sure it only exists in an antiquated over-the-counter market that they dominate. Quote, by blocking the entry of exchanges into the IRS market, the dealers force investors to trade with them in an opaque and inefficient over-the-counter market, which allows the dealer defendants to extract billions of dollars in higher fees and costs year after year from the class members in this case. The dealer defendants maintain this profit center by conspiring to squash. Wait a minute. Let's apply this to the entirety of the legacy system if they all have this way of thinking. Maybe they don't all, but to generate an idea, let's go with that for a moment, right? We're just playing with ideas. If in the legacy system there is the mind state of squashing rising competition, and then you look at what happened with all of the different meetings with the SEC behind the scenes, and then the stopping of the bank coins pretty much, which they just had to get out in front of Ripple, really, and everybody else that has a similar use case would be hampered by what's going on with Ripple. Wouldn't this definitely support the idea that that's what happened? That's a good possibility of what occurred. And that, now I know a lot of us believe that happened, but this is proof that they do this. Proof. 100% coming from lawyers. It says squash every, not some. It says conspiring to squash every potential market entrant. Just like in crypto, they're exposing a lot in these types of articles. I hope people are reading this. Go read it for yourself. You know, I'm giving you my perspective. Of course, you don't have to have it. Once again, this article is titled JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and 7 mega banks paying $46 million over alleged conspiracy. It's on dailyhodl.com. It's being reported in a lot of different places. You read it for yourself. All right. It's there. It says squash every potential market entrant that threatened to bring competition and transparency to the buy side in the IRS market. Now, what happens typically if someone can't squash you? A lot of times they have if you can't beat them, join them type of attitude. Now, with distributed ledger technologies and just the whole point of making things open source, it's sort of hard to defeat that. Because really, in the end, if you crush someone with DLT technologies, they could just make it open source and people can use it, build on it for free, right? So then what will be better? You can't outright squash them because of that. You join them. You make them congeal with you. You make deals with them. You say, hey, listen, there's enough money to go around for everybody. Let's come together. What do you see happening right now with the new financial system? You see Ripple and Quant and all of these different companies, Stellar, working with these giant banks and governments. They're coming together. They couldn't squash them. The technology is already out there. It's like AI. A lot of the AI, they open source the AI and people are building their own AIs. They're building them natively on their computers. They're building things, just putting them out on the internet for free. Now, how good they are, it's questionable. But it's there. Same thing with distributed ledger technologies. From my knowledge, if I'm wrong, correct me. I'm always open to learn. I'm not a know-it-all. Not at all. But now, let's continue on. Since at least 2007, as detailed in the complaint, the dealer defendants have jointly threatened, boycotted, coerced, and otherwise eliminated any entity or practice that had the potential to bring exchange trading to investors in the IRS market, unquote. We're going to stop right there. I want to get to a few other articles. This article is so explosive. I hope people go read it and save it. Remember, they said it's rigged. They went to court for it. All right, now let's move on. Hope you're all having a fantastic Saturday, by the way. Hope you're getting some love. I appreciate every single one of you out there, man. I hope that I hope someone tells you that they love you. All right. And you're feeling good. That's important. So now we have this article here. This article is our first XRP article, although the first chapter really was hugely Bankcoin related. You want to be real. This article is titled, Can XRP Price Reach $1 in July if the Ripple versus sorry, my throat is a little dry. If the Ripple versus SEC case ends this month. What? Listen, just my humble opinion. I guess they're going to ask ChatGPT about this. If the case ends, is it possible for XRP to blast up to $1? Yes. In my humble opinion, not financial advice. Yes. Can it go past the dollar? Yes. That's two. Will it last long? In my humble opinion, no, not yet. No. Because there's so much pessimism, because people really need capital right now. A lot of people need capital. They're going to take profit so fast. It's going to be mind blowing. The volatility is going to literally pop anybody's mind, blow their mind who's not ready for it. Unless they're long-term investors. So that's what I see happening. So yeah, $1 past $1, sure. How long it will last, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to last long. Now, when you're looking at the long-term explosion of XRP, I think that comes after. I think that comes with some big announcements. It depends on the companies building on the XRPL. Do they, as soon as it's over, do they make rapid fire announcements? Then that you might have a sustained higher price. You're going to need a catalyst, but yeah, so yes, I think it's possible, but I don't think it's going to last too long. So if you're a short-term person, you're probably going to be taking profits very quickly, so you don't miss out. You know what I mean? Not financial advice. It's just my humble opinion. All right. It says, what are XRP's chances? They're pretty good. If you look at what happened with when XRP itself got clarity. Imagine when when the institutional use and all that stuff, the whole case is completely over. Holy smokes, this should be a massive explosion. It says Ripple's XRP has seen better days. That we know. Let's skip past that part. I don't need to hear any negativities. Just, yeah. The lawsuit has been going on for 3 years. We know that. Earlier this week, American attorney Fred Rispoli predicted that the case could be resolved at the end of July. We read that article. All right. So it says here, the popular AI-powered chatbot ChatGPT estimated that the lawsuit's outcome could boost the asset's valuation to that level and even beyond. Yes, I do agree with that. Is it possible? Yes. Is it a guarantee? No. It says, but only if the magistrate's decision is in favor of Ripple. Well, so far, everything's gone in their favor. Everything's gone positively for Ripple. You saw the SEC take a knee. They took a step down. They bowed down a little bit. They broke themselves. They backed off of the $2 billion, some kind of $1 billion penalty. They backed off of that. They brought it down to like a couple $100 million. Ripple's like, hey, listen, we said 10 million, right? Something like that. It was something much lower. So now we're just in that little area right there. There's just a little bit left. Now we have this article here, which is on dlnews.com, and it is titled, "Will Bitcoin Bounce Back?" I don't understand how people believe it doesn't. I just don't see it. Bitcoin has all the catalysts lined up, and you can see the negative catalyst right now. That can't last forever. The things that are suppressing, keeping Bitcoin down right now, they cannot last. U.S. government can't sell forever. German government, I think I read that they bought some. They were doing massive selling. They were one of the first. Now I heard that I read an article where say they bought a little bit. So you have that. So who else was selling? There was a lot of big sellers that can't continue. Sooner or later, they stop selling. The price goes back up. But it continues on. It says, here's where 5 experts see the price heading next. It says Bitcoin slump saw it dip to under $55,000 as it dropped below its 200-day simple moving average. The downturn comes as that's who it was, Mt. Gox. Downturn comes as Mt. Gox began to repay customers after a decade-long bankruptcy process that should see the return of about $9 billion in Bitcoin. The fresh influx comes as market watchers expect the German government to sell its Bitcoin holdings. I was reading last week. We read articles said they already did that. But I questioned at the time, is it continuous? Do they have more to sell? Do they sell it all at once? That's what wasn't clarified in those articles. It says, so how bad will the downturn be? This is what experts have to say. FRNT's David Brickell, not familiar with the person, but let's continue on. David Brickell, head of international distribution at FRNT, told DL News it's difficult to say how far Bitcoin will fall. Still, he sees signs the slump may turn around. Macro factors line up positively. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many positive catalysts. You just have some major ones weighing it down, but it doesn't change that the positives are there. So when you take away the negatives, then what's likely to happen logically? Logically, Bitcoin will go back up at some point in the future. That's just what I think. You believe what you want. With the dollar drifting lower and yields reversing lower on expectations of Fed rate cuts and improve liquidity as major central banks adopt an easier policy stance, unquote, Brickell said. Several factors suggest a turnaround. This latest flush, quote, this latest flush might be sufficient to attract the dip buyers who have been sidelined. I agree with that as well. Good point. But remain longer term bullish and may well fire the starting gun on the next leg of the bull market, unquote, Brickell said. Quote, bulls will be on the lookout. I agree with that as well. Good point. So then they have a statement from someone who works at a company called Sin Futures. Sin Futures, Rachel Lynn. Rachel Lynn, co-founder. Okay, co-founder and CEO of decentralized crypto derivatives exchange Sin Futures, said the Bitcoin slump is due to market expectations that Mt. Gox users will dump their coins. They are. There's no way. Just my humble opinion. There's no way after all of that time, waiting for your money, all of that time, your value, all of that time, that you just get your Bitcoin back and you just hold it. Your distrust of digital assets and digital asset exchanges has to be at an all-time, your distrust has to be at an all-time high. I believe they sell immediately. As soon as they get it, boom, sell. It says, but, quote, we might see a bounce back if the selling is lower than anticipated, unquote, she told DL News. I do consider it could go the other way. I try to be balanced as possible. So some may feel that since it's been so long, might as well hold it. I could see that happening. I think that's a lesser possibility, but it's a possibility nonetheless. Lynn added that it's possible Bitcoin's price may tank even further. Quote, if there is enough selling to push the price lower, we might be looking at the $50,000 level soon, unquote. All right. So we're just going to do two of those. Let's move on here. There is so much Bitcoin news today, folks. It was unbelievable. I've never seen so much Bitcoin news coming out. But it's a good thing. You have a myriad of different viewpoints to take in. So this article here is titled Chainlink Climbs as Hedera Tops Developer Activity Leaderboard. Let's find out what's going on with Link and Hedera HBAR. Two of my most bullish. These are two of the companies I'm most bullish on. Chainlink saw a considerable spike in developer activity in June as the decentralized Oracle network climbed into second spot behind Hedera, according to data by market intelligence platform Santiment. According to Santiment analysis, Hedera remained crypto's top coins. It says Hedera remained crypto's top coins. All right, that's worded a little bit strangely. In terms of GitHub activity, however, Chainlink developer data from its GitHub repository showed a surge in the number of events in the past 30 days, with the project rising to second. Chainlink developer activity spiked in June, Santiment revealed in a post on X. On July the 1st, the list of top 10 projects as per number of GitHub events in June. The ranking is based on a calculation of development activity by, quote, counting any non-redundant activity, unquote. The platform then averaged the data based on daily activity for a 30-day leaderboard, while Hedera continues to lead by 759 GitHub events. Chainlink on Ethereum counted 526 events to rank second. All right. Then they go into Optimism, ranks third. Then you have Cardano, Status, Cosmos, ZK Sync, Starknet, and Aptos complete the top 10. Cardano's been doing they've been doing a very good job with their activity. I don't know how people don't see a bullish future for Cardano. It's to each his own. But everything's looks solid. They got a lot of solid projects going on. Charles Hoskinson keeps dropping really impressive updates that are to come. We'll see if that manifests. If they do manifest, you got yourself something bullish. So now let's move on here. All right, let's move on to another article here that shows the potential of Web3. This article is titled Web3 users reached an all-time high of 10 million in Q2. So we're still growing. DappRadar, and that's great to know that we're making progress. It says the second quarter saw a record number of Web3 unique daily active wallets, but DappRadar cautioned the growth may be due to temporary airdrops. Yeah, but are they sure about that? And what makes them think that? You have to provide me some information as to what leads you to that thought. According to a July 4th report from blockchain analytics platform DappRadar, the number of users using Web3 applications reached a record high in the second quarter. The number of daily unique active wallets was approximately 10 million over the quarter, a 40% increase from the first quarter, and the highest number ever reached. According to the report, each sector of the DApp decentralized application industry has experienced notable growth, contributing to an overall bullish trajectory, unquote. And that's really good news. And I think we're inching towards mass adoption, right? I just don't think it's being watched very closely. Everybody, and I understand everyone's really focused just on the prices of crypto. They're not looking at how the tech is actually spreading. And don't get me wrong, I'm here for the bank money. I'm here for that bank money. So I keep my eye on that a lot, but I also look at other aspects that could kick in the utility. And sure, Web3 could bring in a lot of utility. And I'll tell you what, when the so-called powers that be, these large companies, flip the switch, for lack of a better word, and say, hey, to the media that they own, by the way, hey, start promoting crypto, tell the people that crypto is good, come get some of this Bitcoin, get some of this XRP, whatever. This also will play a huge factor, the utility, having a lot of those coins in flow. I think that this also will pick up. I think that also will be promoted. And I think they'll use a lot of the Web3 dApps and such like that to get people used to utilizing crypto of various kinds. It says the social sector saw the largest percentage of growth with a more than 66% increase in DUAW, driven by apps like Fantasy.top. I don't know what these are, so I'm not going to mention them. I don't want to put them out there and someone go check them out if something's wrong with them. So I'll just skip the rest of those. It says the blockchain gaming sector also registered more users during the quarter, though its overall share declined slightly compared to other sectors. Non-fungible token marketplaces saw their highest usage since Q1 2023, reaching $4 billion in trading volume. Over 14.9 million individual NFT trades occurred during the quarter. NFT marketplace Magic Eden saw its market share increase from 17% to 22%. All right, so very, very good news on that end there. Let's see what else we have here. I have a lot of articles. It's just a matter of deciding which ones are most important to cover today. So now let's go into a little bit of this. Let's end off here. We'll end off with this little bit of bullish news from Grayscale, actually, of all the companies. Grayscale, who was sold Bitcoin like crazy at one point, pissing the entirety of the crypto sphere off. Don't worry, Grayscale. We're still going to give you a chance to get back in everyone's good graces with this article right here. So don't blow it. This article is titled "Crypto Market Expected to Recover Soon" by Grayscale. Listen, yeah, I expect the same thing. I have absolutely no worries at all. There's so many positive catalysts that are just there and they're not going away. You just have to weather the storm. You got a few massive negative catalysts, but here's the thing about those negative catalysts. Once again, they're very, very temporary. The night is going to be short. Daytime comes soon. It says Grayscale's researchers told you, listen, see how they put that? These companies have some of the best researchers on the planet. They're well paid. This is why I keep talking about whether they're considered advisors or researchers. They do nothing but research day and night. They get paid a great sum of money to do so. So when these entities speak, sure, can they manipulate information? Yes, but I also listen because they might put out the truth sometimes. Grayscale's researchers have named several reasons why they remain optimistic despite the recent crypto carnage. In a new market update, the research team of a leading crypto asset manager Grayscale predicted that the cryptocurrency market would be able to recover from the most recent crash, quote, in the coming months, unquote. I agree with that. Its optimistic outlook is based mainly on the, quote, broadly supportive, unquote, macro backdrop. Grayscale has mentioned the possibility of the U.S. Federal Reserve rate cuts, as well as the thriving U.S. stock market. That's interesting, Grayscale. Have you been looking at what I'm looking at when it comes to the stock market? As reported by UDOT today, the price of Bitcoin crashed to $53,350. It's the lowest point in nearly half a year. Earlier this Friday on the Bitstamp exchange, close to $700 million worth of crypto got wiped out within just 24 hours. Grayscale's research team identified several sources of this extreme selling pressure. Yeah, but we know most of them. They start off with Mt. Gox right here. It says here, despite these bearish headwinds, Grayscale believes that Bitcoin's fundamentals remain unchanged. At the present time, the cryptocurrency is changing hands at $56,433. Grayscale's research team has also predicted that the U.S.-based spot Ethereum exchange-traded fund, whose final approval is expected to take place this month, will be able to attract, quote, meaningful, unquote, net inflows. The analyst also spotlighted the weakness of the meme coin-heavy consumer and culture sector, which ended up being the biggest underperformer of July. All right, they're making some solid points. Okay, so now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.